In this video we're going to set up CamTrap Pro and use it to process some data from Ainslie-Majura. So after you've downloaded and installed CamTrap Pro, click on the white square to start it up. Okay, we've now got CamTrap Pro loaded with a demo license. So the first thing to do is to install the license key required for processing. So we've got one here. Let's copy that and paste it into the license box here. And we won't reopen it because we haven't actually started yet. License is now OK. So now we'll open our folder containing the data which we wish to process, which in this case is on a removable drive. Not that one, but this one. So we're going to process the week 8 data. So we'll select the folder. And we see that we've got 30 camera folders found. First of all, we don't want to select from these, so we'll load them all up. And now we've got all of the folders loaded. You can see flipping through, there's lots of photos with animals visible. So we'll load up the count versus time. Well, the very first thing to do now is to load up the preset tags which we're going to use in order to tag the images. So if we go to the tag screen, this is what we use to add the presets. You can add them one by one on the screen, or you can read them from a file, which in this case is actually on the desktop. So if we open up desktop and load up the presets, add them all, and there they are. So if we load up the count versus time profile, these are the default settings. We haven't got any highlights or tags at the moment, but that won't stop it from actually working. So it takes a little while to load up. Now that we've finished creating the highlights from the machine vision data, we want to reload only those images which have been highlighted, and you can see that there are 21,000 of them. So to do this, we click the reload data OK to say we want to reload with highlights only, and we want to show only the animal categories. So we make our selection now. We're going to only look at the first folder. And now we've got the profile up. So the blue lines show all of the data where machine vision thinks that there's an animal present. So the first thing to do is to have a look at it. So in order to do this, we draw a zoom box around the blue areas on this time count versus time chart. And here you can see that as we click through, most of these detections, which don't form a vertical line, just show something in the corner there which is a false detection of an animal. But here we've got a few that do show a vertical line, but they're also false detections. So it looks as though we don't have anything to tag from this first group. So we'll zoom out again and have a look at this very long sequence of sequence here. So we'll look at the first one, and looks as though we've got the head of a fox here. Let's just move up through it, click on a few other places. There's our fox, and still a fox. So it looks as though for all of these images, and it looks as though there are quite a few hundred of them, these all show a fox. So we'd like to represent this by a tag. So we'll go back to the start, click on this file, and now click on tag here and select fox from all of the options. So it's a medium large mammal. We select it, there's the tag, and now we apply it. Now in order to actually see the tag on the count versus time plot, we need to refresh the points. So we'll refresh the points, and now that point shows up in red, and it's also labelled as being a fox. Now there's a little break in the data here, and the definition of a detection event is that there can't be a gap of more than 10 minutes in the picture in showing the same animal. So here we can see that the animal, that image was taken at 5:34 p.m. If we go on to the next one, which we can do by clicking the right arrow here, you can see that's 5:38, so it's only 4 minutes. So all of these points represent the same detection event. So we'll zoom out again, and again, now we'll use the shortcut key, which is Control U, and move on to the next group of detections, which are here. So if we click on the first one here, oh, there's our friend the fox again. But now, was it the same fox that we saw before? We don't know, but if we look at the default time period of 10 minutes, you can see that it's now night, and so more than 10 minutes have elapsed. So it's a separate detection event, but we'll tag it as a fox once again. So if we scroll down here, medium large mammal fox. Now you can see that in the tags column we've got a 1, which shows we've already applied one tag. We'll now apply another and refresh the points, and there it is again. We'll have a look at this sequence. Let's just click on that, and yes, it's the fox again, and now it looks as though it's the next morning. We don't know if it's the same fox, but there's a gap of much more than 10 minutes between the last fox detection, so we'll say yes, that's yet another fox. So down we go, medium large mammal, and we'll do the refreshing points via the Control E, and now that shows it. We'll go Control U and have a look at these two. Quite short. Yes, it's the fox again, and this one something a bit different, but let's go back here. Let's tag this as once again fox, down to medium large mammal, and apply. Now let's have a look at this image, and this doesn't look like a fox because whatever it is climbing a tree. So we need to scroll through in order to identify what it is, and we can see that it is actually a brush-tailed possum. Well, we're not sure, we can't see its tail, but they're the common ones in this area, and so we'll flag that as a brush-tailed possum. So go down to small mammal or medium mammal and brush-tailed possum. Control E, and now we show the labels. Control U to zoom out again, and now we go forward quite a few days to another detection. This is just a solitary one. Looks as though that's not actually an animal. Let's go back out. Another solitary one. Well, there's something there, but can't really tell what it is, so we can't tag it. Let's go back out and have a look at these detections here. And we've got a fox yet again, so let's add the fox tag. Another detection here, spaced by more than 10 minutes. Again, not an animal. Let's have a look at this one. Again, not an animal. And you can see that the animal detections usually over a very short space of time. So anything that when you zoom in isn't vertical is probably not an animal. Let's zoom out again and go to this group of detections. So again, there's not much in the way of a vertical line. Let's just click here. That doesn't look like an animal. But we've got a group of something close to vertical here, but no, that's not an animal either. We'll just flip back through all of these, and you can see that none of them are animals. Again, not an animal, not an animal, not an animal. So just about all of these detections are actually not of animals, so we ignore those. And we move on to the very last images which have been highlighted in this particular camera. And once again, it looks as though they are all false detections. So we've finished that camera. Now we move on to the next one. So we go to Reopen Folder. We don't want to create a tag summary just yet. We'll wait till we've finished adding all of them. We do want to make a selection, and now we're going to look at camera 2. We'll show the time versus count versus time. So at the very start we've got a detection which looks as though it's false, and now we've moved up a few days. Let's just have a look at these. Again, there's no vertical line, so probably not caused by an animal, but yes, in this case there actually is one. And you can see that it is in fact a shingleback lizard. There it is. So let's go back to its first appearance, which is actually here. You can just see it around there. If you want to zoom in more closely, you can go to Image and Zoom, go to 200% and drag it around, and you can see that it's mostly hidden by the stake holding the bait, but it is actually there. So we'll go to small reptile and select shingleback skink and apply it, refresh the points, and now it's labelled. So I think we're still in the shingleback skink country. We'll just go back to showing the image without any zoom. Another couple there. The time on this particular image is 5:58. If we go back, 5:46, so this will actually be a new detection event because more than 10 minutes have passed since the last detection of a shingleback lizard. So we'll give that a separate tag. Down to reptiles and shingleback skink again. So now we zoom out, and there's a very long series of images recorded here. And this looks like a bird, in fact a magpie. So we'll just pick a few points to see if it's the same magpie. It certainly is. So we go back to the start where it first appears. We'll just move right back. Just click here again, and we'll select bird Australian magpie. Apply that. And now we'll go to this group of detections, which again is a magpie. The question now is, what's the time difference between this detection and that one? Now if we show the 10-minute tag, you can see that there's more than 10 minutes have elapsed. So we're not quite sure if it's the same animal, but according to the rules we have to make it a separate detection event. So we'll apply that again. If we look here, then this one, again that's a magpie. The time difference here is probably close to 10 minutes, so we'll say that that's the same detection event. And if we go to this one, again the detection time is less, the time between this image and that one is less than 10 minutes, and so that's part of the same detection event. We'll refresh the points, and so we've got a couple of magpie detections here. We'll zoom out. Just change the time interval back to the default, and we wait a very long time, and here's yet another magpie. So let's add that. Refresh the point, and there it is. Just check that it's still a magpie up there. What have we got here? Oh, it's another magpie. What's the time difference? If we show the 10-minute markers, you can see there's lots in between, so that has to be a new detection event. So magpie again, taking us up to 4. Control E to refresh the points, and we've just got to look at this last group here. So it's a couple of very isolated ones, and we've got yet another shingleback. So let's tag him. Apply. Refresh the points, and there's the shingleback skink. One other isolated event, another shingleback skink. And if we go here, shingleback skink yet again, and going right up to the top. So we'll select the first point and add shingleback skink. Reptile. And finally, up at the end here, oh, it's yet another shingleback skink. Now, if you're tired of scrolling through, you can actually order all the tags by how many you've applied. And you can see that the fox and the skink are presently tying, but this just makes it a bit quicker to find them. So we'll select another shingleback skink, apply and refresh. And there it is. Go right up to the end. Still a skink. So now we've completed that camera. We'll close count versus time, and we don't want to create the tag summary yet because we haven't finished adding tags. Now we reload, reopen the folder, and make a new camera selection. And now we're up to camera number 3. And in this case, you can see we've got a nice false detection from that bit of wood. Let's show all of the count versus time. So if we flip through, going to the right here, you can see we have lots of images of that piece of wood detected with a fairly high confidence. But over here, and let's zoom in, you can see we've actually got a shingleback, and shingleback again. Look at the time interval. If we show 10 minutes, this needs its own tag. So that's another shingleback. And this is also a shingleback. So I'll apply there. Here's another very widely spaced one, but that's false detection. And this is also a false detection. So refresh. And we've got a couple of shingleback detection events. Let's change the time interval back to the default and zoom out again. And move on to this detection. Again, a false one. But here we've got a lot of images being collected over a short space of time. And it's a big black bird. So now there's a gap here, but it's probably the same creature. We'll just check on the time interval, which is just over 10 minutes, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. So the question is now, what is this bird? So we'll go to the tag, and what might it be? Now, one thing that's quite useful when you're dealing with birds is to look at the colour of their eyes. And in order to do this, I'll just scroll through so we get a different view of the animal. And there you can see that the eye is white or yellow. So if we go to the tag and look at the birds, we'll just go back to text ordering. What might this be? It's not a magpie, it might be a raven, it might be a currawong. Anyway, let's check and see, and it's got shiny black feathers. So let's guess that it might be a raven. If it is, let's have a look at some example images. Now this just brings up the Google search, and you can see there that there's actually a different eye colour in these two photos. Sometimes the eye is clearly white. In fact, in almost all of these it's white. So let's go back and see. That looks pretty much like it, so I think we're correct that that is actually a raven. Now if we go up here, I think that's very likely the same raven, so we only need the one detection event. Let's go Control E, and there it is. Now let's go up to this event. That's a false detection. Another false detection. So it looks as though all of these isolated detections here are actually false. But here's another one where there are a few of them, and we get another view of a black bird with white eyes, and in this case you can actually see its little beard, which is another confirmation that it is actually a raven. So we'll add another tag for that. And there it is. We'll zoom out and reset the default. And raven once again, but again the time spacing is much more than 10 minutes, so we can't be sure it's the same one, so we'll give it its own detection event tag, but it's definitely that of a raven. I'll refresh the points and zoom back out again. Change the default. Couple of detections here. They look as though they're false. Indeed they are. We'll move right up to the end. Couple of short ones here. Again false. So it looks as though we've got nothing except false detections here. So we've now finished our third camera, and it's taken us not very long at all. So we'll now move on to doing the last camera and prepare the tag summary. We've now come on to the last camera out of the week of data, and you can see that there aren't many highlighted images in this. We'll just step through them using the arrow key. Don't know what that is. Ah, but there's a shingleback skink. So we'll tag that as a shingleback. Let's go down to reptile. There we go. Add him. Oops. And apply it. Okay, zoom out again. Another shingleback. Time difference is much more than 10 minutes, so don't know if it's the same one. So let's give it another detection event tag. Down to reptile, shingleback skink. And there we've got a different kind of reptile that looks very much like a blue tongue. You can see it wriggling around. So we'll find blue tongue, reptile, blue tongue skink. There we go. Refresh. And up here, nothing. That's a false detection. And another false detection. So now we'll close. And this time, because we have finished all the cameras, we'll create a tag summary. So we answer yes to that. And now off we go. So we want to view a tag summary, and here it is. These are the results of everything that we've done. If you want to consolidate the cameras and look over all time, these are the results which we've got. So, and that's all there is to it. This is the data which will be consolidated over all the different weeks to form an impression of which animals are present. And with these displays, if you click in the top of any column, it sorts by that particular value.